I rebelled in different ways or I conformed in different ways, but I never, ever felt seen for who I was by my parents, by my family. And the gift I wanted to give my daughter when I was pregnant was that I wanted her to know that
In today's episode, I am interviewing a very cool woman who is a licensed clinical mental health counselor. Amanda has been working with women throughout her career, many years, 20 plus years. She does hypnotherapy as well. She does energy work just like myself. She puts a lot of creativity in the way she helps women be empowered. I would love for you to listen to this interview if you are stuck in a moment where you just feel like you need help. You need to speak your truth. You want to be authentic. I'm sure this conversation is going to be on fire because she is super aware of what's happening in the world. As I said, she has so many clients from teenagers to mothers to 60-year-old women that really want to shift their lives for the better. So join me. And if you are new here, new subscriber, please comment. Please be present with my channel. It's a new channel, and I think it's going to just blow up. It's going to go global. Not because I am seeking for approval, but because the interviews themselves are amazing, and they are just 40 minutes of empowerment and of ideas of how can you, our listener, be better and improve the quality of your life. So thanks for being here. Thank you for spending the time with me in order to work on your growth. And let's listen to Amanda. Welcome, Amanda. I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I'm giggling within. This is gonna be fun because you are a fountain of knowledge. You're a fountain of energy, creativity. And when I've met you, I remember I was at a brunch and you were there with your daughter. And I looked at you and your daughter and I thought, what a wonderful thing to see. Your daughter is in college. How often, all of you watching, if you have a daughter in college, besides when they come home or they want money or when it's a family dinner, how often do you see a mom or yourself? And that's a really good question to you, Amanda. How often do you see this beautiful relationship between a mom and a daughter? And it was so amazing because the way that brunch was happening was that we didn't really know each other. We had just met through a common friend, and we got to speak about each other, who we are. And it's beautiful because it's like social interaction, not via phone, but, person to person. And her daughter is so beautiful. And I thought, I need to meet with this woman and with Hannah, her daughter, and I need to bring my 16-year-old and have a form of, coffee, a lunch, whatever the case is, and see what is it that Amanda is doing as a mom to have this sort of relationship with Hannah. So I want to dig into that, Amanda, throughout our conversation. And also I want to dig into, I know you have several other certifications, so just give me a little bit about who you are, your certifications, struggles women have, and relationships with their kids. I know it's a loaded question,
but amazing.
So capable of listening to everything I'm asking and remembering this. So there you go. I still have my coffee. I'm listening.
Like, kick back and relax. So I am a therapist and I do a lot of work with women. I have a few male clients, but most of my work is with women, and it's been from teenageness until, much older. And part of my excitement over time has been because I think anybody that's doing work as a therapist or as a coach or with any of this typically is also all excited about their journey or working to resolve things for themselves. And so as I've progressed in my field, it's been exciting to find healing modalities that really worked for me and spoke to me. And so those are, of course, the ones that I have pursued and utilize with clients a lot. So I do a lot of energy work. Transpersonal psychology is the place I kind of work from. I use hypnosis. I do dream work. I do a lot of art and bringing creativity into it, but it's just very much around the mind-body connection, mind-body spirit, and allowing for actual healing instead of just sort of making things feel better. Actually making space for building that relationship with yourself and getting to know yourself, getting to know your emotions, getting to know how your body is responding to different situations, because sometimes that's our biggest gauge to let us know, give us a clue that like something's feeling not good or something is actually feeling great. But I think as we do that, that helps facilitate the actual communication that you were talking about that sometimes can be hard. And if we have built that relationship with ourselves, first of all, it's easier to want to stand for the person that we are. We don't kind of adapt and conform to other people as easily or need to put on a mask or protect as much because, I actually like who I am. I actually feel very comfortable with who I am. And I would kind of feel uncomfortable maybe crapping on who I am and pretending to be something different that I'm not, right? So it inspires an authentic interaction, I think. And I can feel good about that because I can be brave for me and I can feel much more relaxed about that. I see a lot of women feel very afraid of having what they perceive might be hard conversations, or if I don't present in a certain way, people aren't going to accept me or approve or love me. Also, with partners, well, if I have these clear expectations or if something bothers me and I say it, is that going to be okay? A lot of my clients really feel like they just are supposed to adapt and morph into and kind of pretzel themselves into whatever the situation or the person sort of theoretically demands. And I think it's easier not to do that when you've actually spent that time connecting with yourself and learning yourself and having that love for yourself. It just is an easier place to stand in that ground. And I have so many clients who are continuously so proud of themselves because they will have that hard conversation with their boyfriend. They will, and they think, oh my goodness, well, if I say this, he's going to break up with me and he's going to decide I'm not the easy, cool girl anymore. And then, I've lost everything. And in fact, if that's all it was being the cool girl and that's what he was attracted to or she was attracted to, well, that wasn't ever you. But second of all, I've been amazed at how excited people get when they realize, oh, this person actually did want to hear me. They actually did they did care that something bothered me. They did want to make sure that my feelings aren't hurt. And so, then they get to feel empowered about that, right? They get to feel like, oh, he really does love me or she really does love me. And that, helps reinforce that cycle of oh, and also I deserve, I'm the one who needs to love me too. And I'm going to continue to put that energy into my relationship. So with me as well as the other person. But that's a long answer to something that I think is actually just really important. If we can't speak authentically, how heartbreaking is that? Because that, this is who we are.
And not only that this is who we are, but to go back to your relationship with Hannah, this is who we show up as.
Yes.
In front of our child. And this could be a multiple generational thing that you start as a woman. Again, not to create some sort of, oh my God, you're guilty of that right now. This is not the reason
not at all
saying this.
Right.
It's really not.
Right.
But it is something to consider because a lot of women stay in relationships or do certain things in order to protect their children, in order to, have a stable, whatever, household or whatever stable even means at this point. But what they don't see by not speaking out and being their authentic self, if they have children, especially if they have daughters, is that the girls are looking up at you and they're going to model exactly what you're doing, exactly what you're doing, and you are creating something that you don't necessarily want by thinking that you're protecting them, by thinking that and then by thinking you're protecting yourself and you have this shield or whatever, right? That's protecting you from your authentic self. And that only adds up and only adds up until one day you wake up and you're sick, or you do need to go to therapy or to counseling. You do need to take antidepressants. You might end up doing a lot of alcohol because you just really don't know how else to go. Maybe you don't have the money to go to therapist or to hire a life coach, which again, everyone's different. So that is important, because when I saw that connection, between you and her, I realized how beautiful and how rarely do I see that in today's new world, filled with everybody on their phone, on social media, without the real connection. Nobody had their phones on the table. Everybody was looking everyone in the eye. There was this really nice, almost awkward, because you're like, it's beautiful. It's silent. Everybody's eating. There is no interruption. We just talked. We just opened up. And people need that. Women need that.
Yes. And I think it is, one of the things I loved about when we met was it was that kind of interaction. And also, it was nice for me because I did have my daughter there. And I will say we have a remarkable relationship. I feel so special in that, in having that gift in my life. But I will say one of the things that has been really impactful to me is when I was growing up, there were these expectations of who I was supposed to be as a woman, as a daughter who was going to get married or whatever. And I rebelled in different ways, or I conformed in different ways, but I never, ever felt seen for who I was by my parents, by my family. And the gift I wanted to give my daughter when I was pregnant was that I wanted her to know that I saw her for who she was and that I liked her for who she was. And that meant a lot of the preconceptions about like what my daughter's going to be like, or what she's going to enjoy, or what she's going, what kind of, all of that had to go out the window. And every parent comes into parenthood with some of those expectations, even when we don't mean to. And so again and again, I would have to stop and remind myself, okay, is this for her? Is this for me? Does this have anything to do with the person that she is? Or is it about who I am? And if it's about who am I, then I need to go work on that. If it was important for me for her to do piano lessons, well, I need to be going and doing piano lessons. If that's not her vibe, that's not her vibe, right? But then that comes back to getting to know myself better and deepening that relationship with myself and not projecting it onto her. She thinks that's a ridiculous story, but I think it's really, it actually speaks to everything I wanted to do as a parent. One time she was over at a friend's house and the mom asked her what she wanted to do. She was in middle school, like as her career. And she, at that time, wanted to be an attorney. And she said, I want to be a lawyer. I want to have a penthouse in Manhattan with an amazing view. And the friend's mother said, wow, I didn't expect that. And she said, that seems not very much like your mother. Like, what does your mother think of that? And Hannah, my daughter, said, my mother supports me in my goals. And I thought, if she knows that, that's everything, right? Because I have, just really cared that she felt like she was seen and accepted and loved for exactly who she is. And that, I always remember that because, every relationship has challenges and good days and bad days. But when it comes down to it, I know that she absolutely feels seen. And I feel actually, frankly, seen by her. And that's not her job to do, but it does happen. And we have a beautiful it's amazing to be able to be delighted in somebody's company. And that is how I very often feel with my daughter, which is wonderful. But again, we've worked hard to have communication that works. And we have worked hard to, when she could not hear me at different times through teenageness, I would email her because she could hear that. And then it's just providing those opportunities. We had coffee probably 3 times a week all through high school. And she would, and that was not me probing. That was just her sharing with me. And so, different things that facilitated just opportunities to connect and get to know her, which again, that's often as women not what we're allowed to do. We're, have these roles that we think that we're supposed to conform to, and we kind of want our children to do the same.
What you said about Hannah, and about learning to communicate with her, and writing, prompted me to thinking love languages, right? Because a lot of us don't think about that, and I didn't know that there was something called 7 love languages, or people are communicating in different ways. My husband is a he likes to be told, great job, it's amazing how good you're doing, it's so amazing that you're doing this. And I couldn't care less, man. Like, you could tell me all day long how amazing I am. Now, of course, my ego is going to be tickled at some point. But, it's not driving. It's not the driving force. To me, though, if you are in my life, and if you call me and say, hey, what's up? Or you say that you're going to connect with me, and you actually do connect with me, right? Like, you do those actions, or you're going to help me in the house without me asking you. You're going to say, hey, you want me to help you with cleaning, or making dinner, or you want me to clean the car? I'm just giving examples. That's like, no, it's not words of affirmation, or it's not, it's more of the action part. And doing what you're telling me you're going to do. If you don't, it hurts. Like, you said you're gonna do that, and I'm not gonna go back and say, knock knock, did you just do that? But in my heart, it's gonna be, how many times are you adding on not doing what you said you're gonna do? And at one point, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, not really. But you brought up the love language, and for a lot of women that are struggling, they need to know their love language, right? Their partner's love language, so that they can overcome struggles and difficulties. And that's where I think there's a lot of disconnect. They are amazing women, but they don't do the basic work to find out the most basic things about their partner, about how the relationship, what they want from that person, what type of relation, especially if you're getting married with someone else. Then you maybe have children already, and suddenly you're remarrying, maybe you're divorced. There are all these different family palettes and patterns that are happening. So what do you see as a therapist, as a counselor? I know you work with energy, you do so much with creativity. Do you see that they're stuck also in developing that creativity, in communication? Like, I feel like asking maybe, what are the top 3 struggles or emotional issues that you've seen women?
That is a great question. I love the idea, like that you said, of stuck energy. It really, that's a wonderful way to conceptualize it, because when we're having a hard time, when there's been a rupture of trust, when there's been a different kinds of traumas, big T or little t,
yeah,
that is embodied, right? And the energy often can get very stuck, right? So one of the ways that I will say very quickly, like, that can express itself as depression for sure, right? And we can see people really shutting down and not feeling empowered in their lives, and isolating and disconnecting and losing that voice. We can also see anxiety, which, that anxiety, the energy can be just kind of moving too much and feel out of control and overwhelming. And that can also lead to things not happening, or for lots of energy to be spent in lots of different directions that it's just not being productive, because it's just like, let me self-soothe, let me feel better, let me, whatever it might be. Um, I see a lot of my clients have businesses and things, and I see a lot of working toward, how do I hold the space for making my vision happen, feeling powerful in my space, feeling respected also as a woman, because that's just its own thing. Often in fields where there's a lot of domination by men. How do I feel? How do I feel like I'm going to stand for myself, and also stand for my staff, connect with my staff, feel having that, you talk often about that feminine energy of wanting to have the relationships and the understanding of, like, I'm working with human beings, and I'm there for them and I hear them, but also how do I keep that professional at the same time, and elevate all of us. And I think there are situations where it's kind of interesting, because I'll see it in relationships and I'll see it in job stuff most often. And I see people not taking the steps that will, in relationships, it's often about the communication. In the work space, it's so often about, am I good enough? Do I deserve to be here? Are people going to laugh at me if I put these different things out there that are not, that I'm not hearing around me? And so really allowing, one of the things that I do in my work very often is, just as a touchstone, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, if I'm feeling frightened of saying what I need to say or inhabiting this new space, I always go back to, so where are you feeling that in your body? And what does that feel like in your body? And what are the emotions going on? Because that is, frankly, just getting to know yourself a little bit, and being able to connect with, oh, this isn't just a lot of stuff happening. This is actually, I'm present with myself, and I'm trying to understand my experience better right now. And then I will say, you can do a lot of different things with that. You can ask that space what it needs. You can also, just by being aware of it, it's not running the show anymore. You can say, oh, okay, these feelings are happening, but they don't have to be in charge. I'm going to let, I have a career that I'm in charge of managing here, or I have a relationship that I'm an active participant in. And so how do I want to help myself move forward? How do I want to have that voice? I know I shared with you yesterday, my best friend from college. One of the things I loved about her so much was, it was never a question of what are the options that are being presented to me. It was always, what do I want to have happen, and how do I make that happen? And so when she wanted to exchange in a country that didn't have a program when she was in high school, she got on the phone in high school and said, I want to be in Sweden. How do we make this happen? When she then wanted an interview with a company where all the slots were filled in college, she called the person and said, can I take you to breakfast before you start interviewing? And she, again and again, she could have decided not to, because she could have said, oh, well, they'll laugh at me. They'll think that's ridiculous. No, I'm not going to let you take me to breakfast. No, I'm not going to, we just don't do that. We don't go to Sweden. We don't have relationships with families. But each time she was willing to put herself out there. And, it just so happens that the world did not laugh at her. And each time she got exactly what she wanted. But we do have to be bold for that. And frankly, it's easier to do that for herself, again, if I've learned how to connect with myself, and I've learned how to honor my dreams and the person that I am. And that you did that too. You did that with the theater, and with not allowing somebody's voice to
be my own.
Yes, exactly.
You so much, you created the image that I had in mind for a past client of mine in real estate. She shared with me about a month ago. We had a conversation about something real estate wise, and then we talked about something that happened to her at her workspace, where she said something, and she runs a 30 people team, or big team, and she said something the boss asks something in a team meeting, she responded yes instead of no, because she interpreted what he asked in a different way. And she said, Joanna, for 2 weeks, I could not, I felt like everybody was laughing at me, kind of like just what you said. She felt so uneasy about her response, so insecure. And she shared with me, she said, I could be this amazing boss or team leader in the back end, but when it comes to me coming out and speaking out, not behind my computer, but in people, or stage fright or public speaker, I freeze, I can't find my words. So it's that agenda, right? It's like you gotta meet that the expectations. And to me, it's so interesting. It's almost like I am wired backwards. I am like, I don't know if there's actually something that I should worry about at this point, because I, oh my, what the fuck? I don't.
And good for you. How lucky you are that that is the case. Because actually, all the research is that it's easier to rein that in a little bit than it is to try to pull it out when it's hard for somebody. We
Yeah,
definitely work.
Yeah, I learn as I age. I learn, and I do work with myself to where I realize this is not the best moment. I might just hold back on. Okay, that this is not okay, right? It's called adulting, but I think the idea of not necessarily caring so much about what other people think and just speaking your truth, not expecting other people to say that it's their truth, but like that saying that said, hey, we can have a conversation, and adulthood, it means that we can have a conversation and disapprove of each other, right? And not agree, and still play in the same sandbox.
Yes, exactly.
This is why we're not hitting each other. We're not children. Give me my toy. No, it's mine. It's mine. It's mine. It means that we've evolved and we are a certain age. And I don't agree with you, Amanda. I don't like the way Pink looks at me. Hey, do you still like me if I don't agree with it? Sure, you do. I mean, absolutely.
Exactly.
Hey, give me your opinion. I'm genuinely curious. This is not about me being smarter than you or you being superior. It's about having a different conversation. And this is what women, I feel, are lacking in today's world. Okay. Another thing that you said was very interesting about manifestation, about like just putting it regarding your friend. I have a client, and her sister is consistently asking money from her parents, to the point where she's just expecting the money, right? And she doesn't, if she doesn't agree with what the parents said, they're having a conflict. And by the way, I'm allowed to share this because it's mind blowing. So that the sister doesn't even talk to the parents anymore because she didn't like what they said. And so she's calling my friend. The friend is supposed to tell the parent, oh, mom, dad, you're supposed to send her the money. So there's this like vicious circle.
Wow.
And he expects the money all the time. And she acts like she has it. And guess what? She gets it.
Yeah.
There's to the point where he said, it doesn't matter if the universe is giving me the opportunity, I'm going to create that. There is something in her energy. There's something that she knows it's going to happen. And it's just, because the parent created that pattern, that's what she's expecting. The parent, feels guilty. There's this whole roller coaster circle, vicious circle. And my friend is in between, and she's like, I'm getting calls at 3 a.m. Like, hey, I want you to talk, because it's 10 a.m. in another country, right? And she's like, it's crazy. So going back to the root of the problems, if I'm hearing you right, it really boils down to that self-awareness, making sure that you're enough, making sure that you can speak your truth, making sure you work on yourself, on the communication with other people, with your kids, with yourself, with your partners, and being open, being vulnerable, and understanding who you are, which is, a lot of people don't spend time with that.
Because that's a journey. That is not just done. It's continued.
It's a continuous work, and people are afraid of doing the work. I see it. It's crazy, right? It's like pulling teeth to say something when I work, or when I have a conversation with someone that might want to hire me. I feel like I'm pulling teeth. So unless they reach that moment where the level of desperation is just, I've reached a level that they are kind of like comfortable and they don't want to do the internal work. They'd rather have a easy fix, like, a pill or, whatever, melatonin, or like a good shot at night or something to just numb that pain, numb that feeling of who am I? What am I doing in this life? And just, it's hard internal work, but how would it be like if it was easy?
Exactly. It wouldn't be the same. And I do think, I've never had it not pay off for me to sit down and write and journal. And there are times when I knew that nothing in my life was going to change until I sat down and journaled. And it loosens things up. It allows us to get clearer on what we want to happen and understand sort of the context that we're in. And we have all these different ways to allow ourselves to unstick, I guess.
Yeah.
It's work, right? And it can be easier to then just get stuck in a past pattern, or just the rut that we're in, or the grind, or the hamster wheel. And sadly, it's not easier long term, but we're familiar with living in that space. And I think lots of time people feel like, well, it's comfortable. I know what I'm doing.
Absolutely. For all of you watching, I will add Amanda's information there, her website, her number. I don't know if she takes new clients at the moment. But if you tell her that you're coming from, if you need, I can assist. If I can't assist, I'm sure we can work together and we can reach a common goal to where you feel empowered, to where you live a life without fears. Is that okay, Amanda? Is it okay if I add your information there? She's here, she's local, she's in the Raleigh area, like myself. But if you want to just have a quick 20-minute conversation, ask some questions, I'm going to add her information there. I want you to tell me, what is your favorite quote to end this in a beautiful way? Do you have one?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's a beautiful question, actually. And this is not profound, but it has, don't shit where you eat.
Wonderful.
I wish I had something deeply meaningful and profound, but it has actually been a guiding force in my life. Actually,
this is the best part. I swear. Mine was, what a wonderful thought it is that some of the best days of our lives haven't even happened yet.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that.
I love you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you for having me. What a special thing to get to do.
Absolutely. I am so empowered by you every time we talk and every time we meet. It is just such a wonderful journey. I feel like I just want to move in with you.
I always think we have the best energy together. So
we really do. We really do.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. For all of you watching, please support our channel, subscribe, comment, ask questions. I am here to empower all of you to be your best self and to live authentically. Thank you. Bye, honey. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.